So we're here with Marquise Richards, who is the host of Keeping It a Bean podcast, who also has a coffee bean line called Leroy's. What's going on, my brother?
Oh, it's so good to see you. Thank you for having me, man.
This is my
Yeah.
Philly brother,
Yes,
man.
Yeah, we here. We made it.
Listen,
At Culture Con.
215 in the building
Yes, we
in
are.
Brooklyn.
Come on.
So why are you here?
The connection and the community a lot. And so just being able to meet folks that I've connected with online that we have yet to meet in person and we've collaborated with or sat on panels, I was like, oh, we get to actually just chill out and see each other. So I feel like it humanizes those of us that might have a larger platform and you're just like, oh, snap, you're like regular.
Yeah.
And so it's really nice to have that connection. Yeah.
No, it's so crazy because people on social media kind of seem like unattainable, or
Yeah.
like you make some people make it seem like, oh, you can't talk to them, and then like that.
Right.
Culture Con, what's up? What's going on?
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah. And I think that has been like one of the coolest parts because it's just like, yo, I know you talk about this stuff all the time, but like, you let your hair down a little bit? Like, who are you? Like, yeah. And so I think that has been cool to watch some people's personalities translate into real life and genuinely just be like excited, but also just being fans of each other's work. Like, I've been a fan of your work for so long. Yeah, absolutely. I've been reading your stuff, which is super cool. I saw some photographers that I'm fans of. And so to be able to just like give people their flowers in real time is also such like an awesome thing too. Yeah.
Listen, talking about each other's work, his podcast, the conversations that he has, like they are business. He'll talk about business things,
Yeah.
creative things.
Yeah.
Some things I want to talk to him. I said offline, can't have this in public because we get into some real things,
Yeah.
industry things,
Yeah.
in an effort to make the industry better. But I want to know from you, when you're kind of having those type of conversations in your podcast, what's
Yeah.
kind of going on in your mind in terms of what you want to see on the podcast versus what you keep close to yourself?
Yeah, honestly, like even just in my background of being an educator and all of that, I always want like a lesson to be taken away for folks. And so whether that is, did you hear a story that you connected with, right? Not all of my audience always connects with me in a particular way, but if they're on here and just like, yo, I would love what Eric had to say about this, that, and the third, that to me means we're building perspective, we're doing storytelling, but that ultimately builds community. And that's really what is like such a driving force of whenever I'm thinking about the episode I'm having, I'm like, what is the intended transformation by end of this episode? Are you learning something new? Has a perspective been challenged? Was I challenged, right? And I think those pieces are important, but I really put Black people at the forefront of a lot of the content that I do just to ensure like we still see each other and we're still taken care of. So keeping it a bean, keeping it 100, but then also like bringing my own personality into it as well. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to keep it a bean.
Yeah.
What conversations that's happening right now that you would love to be able to talk about, and if you was to keep it a bean right now, what's the last couple of days?
The conversation around like impact, right? Like scale and impact. I think we see it so much with a lot of festivals of like wanting to grow and big and we want to expand so much. Even for me, I'm just like, do I really want like that kind of like huge audience? Because sometimes you get bad faith actors or sometimes you have to like play a different kind of game. And so I've been lucky enough to maintain a level of like integrity because I got to super serve my audience. And I love like what CultureCon's doing here because even this morning we got to see like, here's some panels that benefit the creative who is like in their journey and taking tangible takeaways. That's what the essence of this was, right? And so I love that. So just having the conversation of like, what does it mean to kind of grow too big, too fast? And does that take away from the people that you were intended to serve? And I look at content creation in spaces like this as a space of service prior to just being like all around the glitz and the glam and stuff like that.
Something you said there, I think is so real. A lot of everything you said was real, but one thing I took is that everybody doesn't want to have 100 employees. Everybody doesn't want to be the next Facebook.
Right.
We good with serving who we talking
Yes.
to, making sure we're giving them what they come here for, and not everybody wants to scale so big because they don't want that additional pressure.
No, I think it's the additional pressure, and then also like you play a very different game at that point in time, right? And so like for me, I'm just like, no, I love being able to super serve my audience because I get to actually genuinely talk to them. It's harder to talk to 100,000 people and 1 million people, and that's awesome to have that level of visibility, but I'm also like, there is something where I know I can still like show up and be like, look, I'm gonna be honest, y'all, I ain't got my stuff together today type joint. And so it allows me to maintain a level of my own humanity. So that's where I get to play that game of like, how much am I willing to share? And there's still some things that are personal that I keep for myself versus things that I'm okay with like serving my audience and my community that I've been cultivating for so long. So I see that in my live shows every other month type situation. I see that when people see me on the street and just honestly just go, thank you, Marquise. And I'm like, this is so cool because it's just like expanded somebody's definition of masculinity or watch different men be able to interact with their sons, their partners better. And that to me is like one of the most rewarding things I've heard in such a long time.
I love that. I love that. And my last question for you. Everybody thinks that New York, LA, I would say Atlanta
Yeah.
are like big content creator markets.
Mhm.
And so many people, when they have all these followers and all these big platforms, they're in one of those big cities. You live in Philly.
Yeah.
Philly is not really that content capital,
Yeah.
or people see it that way, but there's still people doing it. You're thriving in
Yeah.
that city. I want to know, what are you doing in those smaller markets? What type of advice would you give to creators who
Yeah.
are in those smaller markets to
Yeah.
be able to grow?
Yeah, because we might not be like the big content capital, but I think we are definitely the culture capital. Because most people that you see in like these other spaces, there's probably somebody from Philly on their team.
It's always
a
somebody from Philly.
every time. And so that's why I'm just like, we are culture drivers a lot of the time. And so for me, I always tell people, figure out how to drive that culture and maintain that kind of level of integrity. But also just beyond that, it's also make sure you focus on what you want to have a voice, have a perspective. I think it's going to be important for folks in like these smaller spaces, but also we craft your story. How are people buying into you? People join join things, right? And so because of that, folks in Philly and these smaller markets, I'm somebody that feels accessible and relatable, but they're also rooting for me. I was like, I'm not aspirational just yet. I said, I ain't living that life of luxury just
Nah,
yet.
you aspirational, man. You doing
No,
it.
I appreciate that. But I think it's something to say around like, we are still able to like really respect the work that we do. So I continue to kind of take like an odd future approach, or more so, because build with people who are next to you and continue to build that name. And now it's like, oh, Keith, you were just talking to Eric. Oh, you was just talking to so-and-so, da-da-da-da. And then when they see you together more often, it becomes that space. I think we kind of get stuck as the middle child between New York and DC a lot of the time. And I'm just like, no, dog, like we're right here. But oftentimes Philly's more difficult because we're tougher on each other. So we got to leave and then make a name and then come back and be like, yo, dog, you really don't. I'm like, well, I was doing the same thing here. And so I think that's what it is. Philly, start smelling the roses that you have currently present before they go and bloom into other spaces.
I love that. I love that. Y'all heard it. I'm going to add to it collaboration.
Yeah.
Gotta collaborate with people. And don't be afraid. Have conversations and don't gatekeep. My brother, thank you so much.
It's so good to see
Oh,
you. Yes.
it was amazing.
Man,
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
Of course.